Okay, number 2, vision and purpose. What we all do, we go through life and we can take these girls or leave them. But if a lot of times we meet that one and we want her so bad, we kind of forget why we're here, where we're going. We give it all up. And that's losing your vision, your purpose. Like David Data, I don't know if you're familiar with his work. He's a pretty interesting guy, and he talks about this stuff, how you can be... No woman wants to be your number one. She wants to be the most important human in your life, certainly the most important female in your life, but she doesn't want to be the most important thing in your life. The sun does not revolve around the earth. Like David D'Angelo was saying, can't you have a 50-50% relationship totally equal with a woman? And David D'Angelo went like, yeah, you can. It's called She Owns You. And a lot of feminists or guys said, oh, that can't be true. No, it's 51-49, pilot, co-pilot, sun, earth. Once the sun starts revolving around the earth, the whole solar system would collapse, and that woman will leave you. Even if what women say they want, what they think they want, and what they really want, those things have nothing to do with each other. We like to think of them as Boolean math. These things overlap. I don't know if they're even on the same page. I don't know if they're even on the same planet. They all want the nice guy that's like opening the door for them. We know that's not true. But if you put them before your life's purpose, if you don't have somewhere to go, it's not just having a life. You stand for, they say a man who won't stand for something will fall for anything. And that's really what this is about. Know where you're going, what's your purpose, why are you here, what's your gift to the world? Contribution, if you will. You don't need to get too metaphysical or moralistic with it. But you know who you are, what you stand for. And no woman can, you're like a ship, steady as she goes. You stay in your course. And women will come to a man who has that. But if you make her the adventure, she will leave. It's very, very sure. Okay, rejection. When you come to this whole thing about approach anxiety, Steve told me one thing, because I had it really bad. For many years, I didn't have any game. I never needed to. Women came to me. He said, well, then you'll always be left with the ones that are kind of dominant and aggressive. That's not the ones you want, I don't think. You want to be dominant. You need to learn how to pick the women you want. But then I was presented with this whole idea of, wow, it was against my whole belief. I said, well, then I'm like a salesman. Then I'm like the Chris Rock thing, where I say, hey, you want some dick? Can I help you with that shopping? Want some dick with that? That's what most guys do. I mean, it's the truth. And we cover it up pretty thinly, but it's not real. But if you walk up with that intention, you're already automatically setting yourself up for rejection. He told me one thing. When I was like doing this whole thing, talking to 10, 15 people a day, he said, I said, I can't take rejection. He said, you can never be rejected unless you reject yourself first. We are always complicit in our own rejection. And on some level, and this comes in with things like when you go in this whole thing about tens. I remember Hypnotica talking about this. It said this whole thing about tens, objectifying women, is a bunch of BS. It's the biggest bunch of BS ever laid on guys. As far as he's concerned, and I agree completely, there's either a 1 or a 0. She's either right for you or she's not. And if she's a 10, what does it make you? I mean, how you guys feel about yourselves? Honestly, not the bravado, I'm the catch. That's a great frame to come from, but what are you? Like, are you looking like Tom Cruise or whatever? If she's a 10 and you feel like, oh, but I'm just like an average-looking guy, I'm a 5 or a 6, then that leaves a gap that you need to fill. And you can talk a big game, but if you don't feel like you're that catch, you'll feel needy, or you'll feel like, oh shit, she's going to cheat on me, or I'm just not that. And why would you see a guy that looks like Brad Pitt and you say, well, wouldn't she go with him? Objectifying women that way is a very dangerous thing. You need to really look inside and figure out, why do you think you want what you want? Is that really what you want? Yeah, of course, everyone wants the hot babe. Oh yeah? Why? Because your buddy said it, peer pressure? What if the girl you really liked was a 7 and she was really cool, and that 10 was a snooty biatch? Is that what you want? I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. I mean, I've dated a lot of that type of girls. And most of them left me an emotional wreck eventually. So I don't know. I mean, those 10s, I look for a girl where I feel in my heart that she's there, present with me, and if she's not, she's a 0. I don't care who she is. And beauty is very common, as Mystery says. It's only skin deep. I mean, there's tons of HBs out there. But pick the ones that are good for you. Because if you don't get the stuff handled, and if you just get the law of attraction, you know this whole metaphysical thing, The Secret? Well, the law of attraction says you can only attract a girl that's as screwed up as you are. I don't care what she looks like. I've had really hot girls, but they were like strippers and stuff like that, or they weren't good for me. They weren't even fun to be with. At the end of the day, I talked to I remember sitting there with Steve in Sedona, Arizona, and there was this player, this musician, this jazz singer, this handsome black guy, and he had always like Steve said, he smells like pussy. He did. I mean, he had like all these girls, and this girl would say, "You ready to come home?" And he said, "No." "I'm leaving." "Okay." And he just had this, just wasn't swayed. He was so solid in who he was. And, you know, after all these girls were like leaving, and Patrick, and I knew he was one of the worst players I've ever met, DJ in LA, and he said, "You know what? At the end of the day, the girl for me would be the one that I'm just happy. You know, when you're driving in the car and she's sitting there next to you, wouldn't you just be, if you're happy that she's there, just happy that she's there, then she's the right one for you. And if you're not, what the hell are you doing with her?" Couple.